Vegapunk drops the apocalypse on live broadcast, announcing the entire world is drowning. Robin recognizes Saturn's voice from the night O'Hara burned, making her freeze in terror. And Sanji kicks an elder in the face. Watch till the end to see what Mars discovers inside Punk records that proves Vegapunk's consciousness might still exist after death. Last time on One Piece, the Navy celebrated pacifista victory while refusing to stop firing. Frankie one-punched Vice Admiral Red King, and Mars approached Punk records with 1 minute remaining on Vegapunk's broadcast timer. St. Marcus Mars finally arrives at the world's largest brain. Vegapunk's broadcast continues as the doctor admits his coffee's still scorching hot, but everyone's had enough time preparing for his video message. Shaka informs him only 30 seconds remain. Pythagoras starts getting stage fright knowing the entire planet's watching. As if people haven't been watching these guys brew coffee for several minutes already. Mars looks upward, wondering at what he witnesses, something persisting even after Vegapunk's death. He questions if this is the scientist's true self. Then we finally see it in all its glory, the colossal dome within a colossal dome, the top of Vegapunk's literal head. Mars wonders what death even means to something like this, questioning if Stella's consciousness resides within. That's one of the most insane devil fruit abilities ever shown. The transponder snail relays Stella's reply to Pythagoras, but eventually they're recording broadcasts to the world through Den Den Mushi. He admits taking pride in the connection, but revealing truth is also a massive burden. Mars hovers his boot over the poor snail. Just when you think these elders couldn't get worse, who hurts at Den Den Mushi? That's crossing a line even for ancient demons. Scene shifts to Syrup Village in the East Blue, God Usopp's hometown. The former Usopp pirates are disappointed learning Kaya doesn't own a video transponder snail, despite seeming like the only person in the village who would. Mary wonders if the boys know how massive video snails actually are, apparently bigger than average houses. Paimon leaves preparing tea. Usopp's girl Kaya tells them Vegapunk's a medical legend too, things she likely learned from being sick in the past. But she definitely looks great these days. Onion claims he already knew this, but Ninjin calls him out for lying. Meanwhile, Carrot wants his friends paying more attention since this is huge. The Marines at headquarters prepare for the broadcast's proper beginning. At Twin Cape, Crocus and Laboon listen with a regular transponder snail. After that, we end up in Baltimore, Vegapunk's hometown. A child wonders if the great doctor was truly born on their island. Some old man confirms this, calling Vegapunk their pride and joy. The kid believes Vegapunk's responsible for Baltimore's nightmare, but the elder corrects him. That was actually Frankie's fault. If you forgot, he pushed the self-destruct button inside Vegapunk's old lab, thinking it was a pirate button. The geezer also heard rumors the cyborg turned himself into a ship, then wonders how many years since he's seen Vegapunk's face. We find ourselves in the Birdie Kingdom of all places, a South Blue island where Chopper spent the time skip. One of them believes the broadcast's about the island where Chopper is. Someone recognizes Vegapunk as a king of modern science responsible for creating many weapons. Over on the pirate island of Hachinosu, it's business as usual, even with the good doctor's declaration incoming. There are still civil disputes needing handling. Vegapunk speaks to the entire world, having them all on the edge of their seats. Back on Egghead before the elder can completely crush his snail, its large shell breaks revealing the truth. Thank goodness the broadcast continues. This was just a regular Den Den Mushi. This wasn't a hiding place at all. It was an intentional decoy. Overtaken by rage, Mars breaks away from Punk Records in his giant Itsumaid form while cursing the doctor's name. Stella opens with a greeting. Shaka lets him know he already did an introduction, but Vegapunk knew that, with so many people now tuning in with video, he decides doing so once more. With all that out of the way, it's finally time beginning. The people of the Longarm tribe rejoice with clear curiosity. Elsewhere, a little boy emerges from a tent wondering what's happening. A woman informs him a very important man will make an announcement and tells him back to bed. Mars gets flustered when his peers wonder what the heck he's doing since the broadcast's still going. He apologizes and again curses Vegapunk. The doctor was far more prepared than they gave him credit for. There's no way stopping the broadcast. And wow, the smartest man in the world prepared a solid plan. Who would have guessed? Mars continues saying they have no way knowing how much Vegapunk really knows or what he plans saying, but he reminds them of York's words that Stella intends carrying on the torch of the Ohara scholars. Each elder pauses in grim recognition of their unfavorable circumstances. This wouldn't be a repeat of Professor Clover's deductions and final words. This would be a follow-up. Vegapunk plans finishing what Ohara started. Meanwhile, Vegapunk's unconscious body still being carried by Sanji while racing through flames. Sanji wonders if the doctor can hear the cries of a girl in danger. He then knows for sure Bonnie needs him as she and others come into view. Sanji notices the elder with a sword raised above them, wondering what he is. The elder proclaims, they won't allow Bonnie claiming their military power for herself. Frankie stands between her and the monster, telling Bonnie to get back. But interrupting this heroic attempt is Sanji, who intends saving the day instead. Using the black blade as a springboard, Sanji kicks the mythical monster in the jaw, managing to draw blood. Sanji keeps sneaking in these feats with blazing feet. He doesn't care if it's an old man or not, this is a pirate's fight. But instead of speaking, the elder's head erupts into flames while T-posing. The skeletal head of a giant horse emerges from his body and bites onto Sanji until bones begin snapping. That's a very unique application of Zoan abilities, almost like an intentional malfunction similar to a Smile Fruit user's. Thankfully, Sanji tosses Stella before he can be hurt too. Bonnie calls out to Sanji, fearing his injuries. Just then, a giant sees the commotion and begins heading their direction. Over the broadcast, Vegapunk confesses he's committed 2 major sins. Dory and Kashi both grab hold of Nushiro, attempting to restrain him. In doing so, Sanji gets released, and thankfully, Atlas manages catching her creator's body. Bonnie begins calling upon her, Devil Fruit's distorted future ability. Several Marines notice as she leaps into the air while enlarging herself with the power of a giant future. She becomes massive and plans stomping down on the elder. Anger and frustration shift his expression. Stella tells the world he expects to soon be killed for his sins, so the message they're all listening to was programmed going out immediately after his heart stops beating. The people of Sabaudi cry out in dismay, realizing this must mean the great scientist's already dead. Duval, who still rocks that Sanji-like look, which is one of the funniest jokes in One Piece, can't believe it. After all, the fact that Vegapunk was being held hostage by Luffy's crew was all over papers just that morning. Vegapunk's biggest haters are in uproar too. Caesar holds back tears, refusing to accept Stella's death, especially since he and Judge just teamed up to finally surpass him. Morgans really isn't a fan of the whole video snail broadcast thing, since it threatens the future of his newspaper empire. Usually he's the one breaking big news to people. Before properly beginning, Stella really wants making something clear to them all, something he prays they'll all understand. He tells them, not assuming the ones who ended his life are evil, regardless of who they seem to be. He has no intentions discussing right or wrong with this broadcast. At the same time, the Straw Hats up on the Lavostratum are dealing with the sudden appearance of Saturn. He too spat venom when mentioning the doctor's name. Stella claims he's unqualified judging such things and doesn't know enough about him anyways. Saturn begins rushing forward in a hurry. He tells the Straw Hats getting out of the way since he doesn't have time dealing with petty insects. But Robin's stunned when she hears his voice. It's the same voice she heard back on Ohara. Saturn recognizes her as the child that foolish Saul let slip away. Robin immediately knows she's looking at one of the 5 elders. Nami wonders what the monster's talking about, but quickly rationalizes as one of the spider monster's long appendages rushes in their direction. With a desperate outcry, Nami tells them all protecting Robin. This even catches Zeus's attention. They all spring into action, keeping Robin safe. Vegapunk knew what he's about to say would be hard accepting. Even believed some people would consider him a fool. Mars was shaking with panic and frustration. There were too many life forms on the island for him sensing any unique telepathic waves. Vegapunk, York was racking her brain figuring out where Stella may have hidden the broadcast snail. She feared if things continue like this, she wouldn't be allowed becoming a celestial dragon. What's interesting is York didn't know about the recording of this broadcast at all. Otherwise, the elders would have known about it in advance. Despite everything, Stella believed he had a responsibility telling the entire world about a certain issue. The Gorosei continued speaking with one another telepathically. Again, Mars wondered if they should just destroy the power station, stopping the broadcast, but Saturn completely shut that possibility down. Besides losing many Marines, an admiral, 9 vice admirals, warships, equipment, seraphim, and 3 generations of pacifista units, they'd also be sacrificing their access to the Mother Flame, whose use their Lord Emu greatly desires. Then Vegapunk decided getting down to business. The One Piece world is going to sink into the ocean. Marines looked up in disbelief. We then receive a shot of a few mermaids swimming alongside a whale and several schools of fish. The fishmen will finally have their time to shine.